back a little bit later. Alrighty. So what are we going to do today? Today we're going to be focusing on the T sound a little bit because remember last lesson we were looking at some vowel sounds, the E and the E, and I heard many issues with the T sound a little bit. So we're going to review that T a little bit. We're going to start off with the warm up. Let's warm up our mouth, our articulators. What are articulators? Articulation. It's everything around your mouth, body parts, let's say, that influence the sound. So we have and the lips, the jaw, the tongue, the throat, and the alveolar, the all these different parts of your mouth. These are the articulators, and we're going to warm up a little bit right there where you're at. Let me zoom in here. Since we're going to see if we can at least do the first two rules, because there are several rules with the T sound, but we're going to do at least the first two rules with the T sound. So tongue, tip, target. All right. So right there where you're at, what you're going to do is you're going to tap the spot behind the top teeth 5 times. That spot behind your front teeth, that's the alveolar. Now, the tip of the tongue is going to touch right behind the front teeth, and it's the very, very tip. Don't press too much of the tongue on onto the roof of your mouth. It's just the very tip, and you're gonna pop it a little bit. Ta ta ta. So right there where you're at, just go ahead and say ta ta ta. The idea is to be conscious, be aware. What are you doing with your tongue? What are you? How are you placing your tongue? Right. So it's a ta ta. If you put your hand in front of your mouth and pop it, it's gonna be you're gonna feel a little burst of air. Ta 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 ta. All right. So go ahead and do that 5 times. Wherever you are, right there, even if you're by yourself, go ahead and pronounce it ta 5 times. Ta 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 ta. Notice your tongue popping, right? Your tongue should be popping, right? We're going to practice that a little bit more later on. This is just the warm up. Get out of here. Go to number 2. For this one, if you have a tissue, a piece of paper, anything at all, anything that you have, or you can just use your hand. Let's not complicate things. You can just use your hand as well. So the idea is to pronounce these 3 words right here with that same popping sound. Ta, ta. You can put your hand up there, or if you have a piece of paper or I had a tissue here. I don't know what happened with my tissue. I don't know where it is. I don't know. I had tissue here, but I don't know where it went. But you just put the tissue up in front of you and pronounce the words T, 2, 10. The tissue should move, right? Because you have that burst of air coming out. So T, 2, 10. You have to feel that popping sensation. Very important because we're going to be practicing that that popping in a little bit. Remember, we're just warming up. This is the warm up, right? Let's go with number 3. The flap bounds. Now, this one's a little bit trickier for many students. The flap T, the flap T is basically the same popping movement, but much gentler. So it's not going to sound like ta. It's going to sound like da, 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 but not the hard D either. There are basically 3 sounds that we have to go over. We have the popping T, 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 t. We have the flap T, da, 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 da. And then we have the hard D, da, 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 da. You hear a slight difference between da and da. Da, 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 da. One is a little bit softer. That soft one, that's the flap T. That's what we're focusing on. Make one fast tap. Same thing, tip of the tongue, roof of your mouth, the alveolar, that right behind your front teeth, right behind your front teeth, but much gentler. Da, 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 da. Right? For example, words like water, da, 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 water, city, city, city. If I pop it, it's city. There's a lot of air coming out. I don't want that much air coming out of my mouth. So put your hand up against your mouth. If you feel that burst of air coming out, then you're popping it too much, right? City, water, right? And where that one's a little bit trickier. So in your personal assessments, remember you can record yourself and practicing and post it in the community. And when you do that, I'll be listening to your submissions. I'll be listening to your audio files, and I can give you feedback, and I can tell you if you're doing it right, if you're doing wrong. That's the idea. I'm coaching you along the way, but you have to post in the community, right? So we'll keep practicing that in a little bit. Let's practice the glottal stop. This is the glottal T, right? It looks like a weird image, but that's the throat, right? So glottal stop check. For the glottal stop, you basically stop breathing. So it's like when you say uh-oh, like, oh, you made a mistake. Uh-oh. If you say that slowly, uh-oh, 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 you'll notice you like stop breathing for a little microsecond, right? That's the glottal T. That's the held in air T. For example, words like button. This should be a double T, but it's just to give you a visual idea what it sounds like. So it's button or mountain. I'm going to climb up the mountain. I don't want to say I'm going to climb up the mountain. Tin. No, I'm climbing up the mountain. I'm going to, I don't know, I'm going to fasten the button. I'm going to fasten the button, or I have to fix the button on my shirt, right? That's the glottal T, right? So wherever you are, go ahead and pronounce uh-oh, uh-oh. Notice how your throat is closing up. Closed. Oh, closed. Uh-oh. All right. You have to get familiar with that glottal T. We're going to keep practicing that later on as well. Let's jump into the held T. All right. So it's similar to the glottal T. It's similar to that air that you hold in. Except this happens a lot when the T comes at the end of a word. So, for example, this word right here, cat. I don't want to pop that T. Cat. No, hold the air in like uh-oh, uh-oh. Cat. Hold the air in. Close that throat. Cat. Cat. Or not. 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 Right? So close the throat. Cat. Not. For example, cat toy. A cat toy. Not now. Not now. Not now. Stop the air, then release. So, cat, cat toy. All right, that's the held T. We'll practice that more in detail a bit later as well. And lastly, for the warm up, just giving you a general idea of how important these T sounds are. Lastly, we have the silent T. This is easy. This one's the simplest one of all. So for the silent T, you don't want to pronounce the T at all. It doesn't exist. It's completely silent. No, doesn't exist. For example, center, internet, Christmas. We don't pronounce the T's in any of these words, right? So I'm going to say in the city center. You can find anything you want in the city center. I'm not popping that T. Now, the easy rule, because this is the simplest rule, is basically most of the time, there are certain exceptions, but most of the time when the T comes after the letter N, right? 99% of the time, this is the rule with some exceptions. But when you have an N-T, the letter N and then the T combination, drop the T, it doesn't exist. There's no sound at all. Center, internet, interface, advantage, percentage, in the winter. So it usually snows during the winter, right? So these are some examples. Again, we're going to get into that a little bit later. So just practicing the articulation, warming it up, giving you a general idea of what we're going to be focusing on. All right. So let's start off with the general idea here of that popping T sound. Right? 1 second, because I got this window where I can see all you guys. There we go. It's blocking half of my screen. There we go. So let's start with that popping T. What is the general rule? Most students that they pop the T. For example, these words like Italian, attack, atomic, photography, Italy, attic, atom, photograph, they always pop that T, but we don't want to pop that T. All right, not always. Sometimes we do. Sometimes we do pop that T, but not always. All right. And FYI, Salvador, I see your message. Don't worry. I see you cannot turn your mic on. Don't worry, not a problem. So what are we going to do? When do we pop that T? And when is that T pronounced like the flap T, the flap sound? When the intonation, so this is all related to intonation. In another lesson, we can get into intonation. But intonation is the melody, the rhythm of the language. Which words have a high intonation? Which words have a low intonation, rising, falling, connected intonation, etc. In the word Italian, you can listen to the intonation. Italian. Where is the most powerful part, the highest point of that intonation? At the very top. Italian. Da da da. Italian. Because the very top of the intonation, the tip of the mountain of that intonation falls on the T in the word, you pop it. Italian. Attack. Atomic. Photography. If the intonation does not fall on the T, it falls on a different part of the word. The T is going to be in a weak position, right? In that case, it's going to sound like a flap D, like a flap T, like a da da da. For example, Italy. Where's the intonation? On the I, not on the T. So the T turns into a da 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 da. Italy. Attic. Atom. Photograph. Right? That's the general rule. Right? So let's see. Let's see if we practice here a little bit. I don't want to put anybody on the spot. So it's completely voluntary. But who wants to volunteer to pronounce these words? All right. We can go with Paulo. Are you up for it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, very good. I'm gonna call on everybody who wants to practice. Where each one of you are gonna practice, you're gonna have your shot. But again, it's not forced because I know some of you might be a little shy. You don't want to be pronouncing anything in front of everybody, but so it's completely optional. But we're gonna go one by one. Let's go with Paolo. Go ahead. Start on the left and then jump over to the right. So don't go down. Start left, then right, left, right, left, right. All right. So go ahead there.
All right. Italian,
Hmm.
Italy,
Excellent.
attack, attic,
Good.
atomic, atom,
Hmm.
photography, photograph.
Perfect. No problem. Excellent. And who else? I don't know if Vamsy, did you want to
Yeah,
try? Yeah. All right. Excellent. Go ahead, Vamsy. The same pattern. Left, right, left, right.
yeah. Italian, Italy,
Italy. Soft da 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 sound.
Italy,
All right. So right there, you're popping the T. You're saying Italy. You're popping that T. We want to soften the T. And the way to do that, the tongue is going to touch the roof of the mouth, but don't release it very abruptly. Don't release it very hard. It's a soft release. Italy.
okay, Italy,
A little bit better. Let's try it in slow motion. So this is a technique I use a lot.
uh,
And so let's try it in slow motion. You're going to say that word, Italy. You're going to say that word, but
Italy,
in slow motion. Italy. Very, very slow. Try that. Right,
Italy.
right there. So you hear how that you pop that T.
Yeah, I
We
popped it.
don't. Yeah, we don't want to pop the T. So it's da, da, da. Imagine
Uh,
maybe like a D. Maybe that'll help.
yeah, okay, got it. Italy.
It's better. Yeah, that's better. A little bit better.
Italy.
That's much better. Exactly. It's a little bit better. Excellent. Let's try the next word over here.
Attack.
No problem. Over here.
Attic.
Much better. Very good. Over here.
Atomic.
Good.
Atom.
Much better. Excellent. Over here.
Photography.
Good.
Photograph.
Much better. Excellent. Very good. Yeah, so that's what we want to do. We want to control the tongue. I always say you control your tongue. The tongue doesn't control you. You have to be very conscious of how you're moving your tongue. Where is the tongue touching in your mouth? How are you releasing it? And how are you moving your tongue? And that's why saying it in slow motion, that's going to help you because it forces you to think of what you're doing with your tongue. But good, excellent, not bad.
Thanks,
Anybody
Nick.
else wants to volunteer? I don't know if
Thank
Salvador
you, thank you.
or Sang. I don't know if I'm pronouncing
I
your
would
name
like
right.
to.
I would
Sang.
love to.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, we'll do everybody then. How do you pronounce your name? Sorry, Sankit or Sankit?
It's Sanket.
Sankit. Okay, I'm going to try my best. Sankit. All right, Sankit. Go ahead and give it a shot. Again, from left to right. Left to right.
Okay. Italian,
Mhm.
Italy.
Excellent.
Attack, attic.
Great.
Atomic, atom.
Good.
Photography, photograph.
Excellent. Very good. Very good. Let's try Salvador, the missing link here.
It's Italian and Italy.
Excellent.
Attack, attic. Atomic, atom. Photography, photograph.
Excellent. Beautiful. Very good. So, again, we're just dipping our toes into the idea of that popping T and the flap T. We're going to practice a lot more. We're just the intro, guys. All right. So,